Stand by to initiate release sequencer. On my mark. 5,
We're on express elevator to hell. Going down.
2, 1. Mark.
Welcome back to the Resupply with me, Guy Next Door.
Me. Fireball DK. Woo.
And me, Than.
Bringing you your weekly double tap of all things Space Marines and Laser Force. Boy, oh boy, what a week. Is he still drunk? What a week it's been. A week or two. It's been crazy. Good morning to you, chat. Nice to see everyone here. It was 100% me that fixed the thing, not anyone else. Suck it, ducky. Hello, boys. It's nice to see you.
Yeah, we're doing a show or something here. It's been a
Yeah.
while. I forgot that we do the thing.
It is a shame
Yeah,
because today, we lean heavily on DK for content, so we might be in some trouble.
Possibly.
Oh, look at the time.
Hoodlum,
Hang on.
14 fucking months.
And
14 months.
hang on. Putty wants us to bring him happiness and joy. For starters, bro, there's unfortunately, these various quarantines and whatnot and travel bans. So we cannot bring you happiness and joy. We cannot bring it to you directly.
DK with
You're
that
just gonna
privacy.
have to bring yourself your own happiness and joy while looking at our gorgeous faces. That's
what-
what's gonna
Oh, I
have to
got-
happen, bro.
That got existential as shit right there.
I'm gonna bring it back
Have you
down.
met me?
All you need to do is run your hand under the hot water tap for about 30 seconds, and then you'll be good to go. Thank you very much, DK, for the for the Prime sub. 8 months. That's real good of you. Thank you.
Yeah, it's only 6 months less than Hoodlum, who doesn't have a stake in the channel. Good on me, I guess.
14 crazy months. Ahoy, Lucy. Nice to see you.
Yeah, I was jealous of Lucy's trophy case, so I had to start building my own.
I mean, you've had a good little collection cranking in the background for a little while.
Those, yeah, I'll have to put these over there.
So we're gonna do a recap because as many of you know, there was a fake Nats held recently. So really, it should have been just a bunch of spray painted plastic asterisks that got handed out as awards. But we'll get into how the week went shortly. There was also another Laser Force event held this week in Western Australia, which many of you got to watch. I think that the time frame for you guys was even worse for WA, right? Because it's even earlier in the morning when they kind of run. I don't know. It just sort of confuses me when the time frames are.
On the quote unquote their early days was about 8 p.m. for me.
Right.
Their later start days was around 10 or 11 p.m.
Yeah.
So I saw some of the stuff. Usually they played Space Marines kind of early in their day, so I was able to catch at least some of those streams. So that was cool.
We'll talk about that stuff shortly as well. We wanted to really kick off the show on a kind of serious note. We won't go too hard. We wanted to extend our deepest, most heartfelt condolences to Pint Size and her family. Obviously, what you're going through at the moment is fucking devastating. So we're all here if you ever need a yarn or distraction or venting or whatever. But yeah, just our thoughts, our T's and P's out to you and your family. Much love, much aroha. Yeah, we're here for you if you need us.
Love you, Pint.
Oh, you're in chat. We love you, Pint.
That's good. I'm glad we could deliver it in person.
Yeah. We hate to clip it and send it to you later. But yeah, just sending our love, bud. Hopefully we can be a little bit of a distraction for you for a little while. You go watch some clowns be clowns on the internet for about an hour and a half.
We are definitely clowns on the internet. That is a 100% accurate statement. In fact, I think that may be the best description of this show anybody has ever thrown out ever. Three clowns on the internet talking about lasers.
Mm,
Yeah.
no, I'm not in love with it, but
You're not in
we'll
love with it?
roll. We'll roll. We'll
Says the
roll.
dude
It's
with the
okay.
red hair.
Maybe that's why it hits a little too close to home.
Yeah. But yeah, we are thinking about you, bud. So yeah, just hang in there. um I lost my train of thought. Sorry, I got tied up and tripped over a bit of a bump.
Obviously.
Yeah,
It's all good.
yeah.
We were talking about WA titles.
Oh yeah. Okay, so the Laser Force. Sorry, bear with me. Why don't you guys talk for a little bit?
That's all right. So yeah, so Western Australia did their thing. Like I mean, it was a bummer that I'm sure there were teams that were supposed to attend that weren't able to because suddenly there were travel restrictions that got thrown into place within a week or two of that event happening. So that kind of sucks that maybe it wasn't as full of a competition as it otherwise should have been.
Kinda sucks. That sucks. Donkey balls.
Okay, it sucks. The smelliest of dicks. And there it is, Steve going,
phrase.
oh my
Man
god,
phrase.
man, I hate that fucking line. Fuck you so much, bro. I haven't used that line in like 8 or 10 shows on this channel. So
Seems like the most appropriate time for it to rear its ugly head.
correct. So did it suck the smelliest of dicks that comp probably wasn't as big as it otherwise was going to be. Yeah, that always sucks when things like that happen. But I think there's a lot of silver lining that we need to take out of that comp, because like, okay, so in the space of 2 weeks, yeah, we had a fake Nats in the States. We had we had a Laser Force comp in Western Australia. We've got 2 more events in the States that are being planned. I know that Detroit is looking at doing something in October, and Loveland is looking at doing something towards the end of February. There's movement in the European scene to get different stuff planned there. So the reality is like, okay, and again, I mean, COVID may fuck this all up again because Delta variants and all that. We're gonna skip past that for the time being. The reality is that there's a lot of really positive movement within the scene as far as events happening and trying to get the various disparate scenes linked up. And that, I think, is something that like we need to, while being mindful of some of the irritation factors of not being able to gather as much as we would like to, we need to really kind of celebrate the fact that it feels like the wheels are starting to turn, and we're starting to get a little bit of momentum again to try to get the intercenter competition stuff back off the ground and
Back and going.
and flowing.
Well, yeah, I was having a conversation yesterday, and it's kind of like we're in the 2 steps forward, 1 step back part of the process and recovering from COVID. So it's like, yeah, there is forward motion. It's just there's going to be a little bit of stumbling and whatnot since here in my lovely county, we're back on mask mandate now because just people wouldn't get their fucking shot. Just get your fucking shot, guys.
Yeah, you get free donut.
Not that hard.
I mean, hang on. I'm in Texas. What's a mask mandate? What's a lockdown? I don't
what are shots? Who knows?
What's a vaccine? I don't know any of these terms because I'm in Texas.
Next week, Governor Abbott will mandate that all people must cough into each other's mouths to own the libs.
We
And yet that's not too far from accurate at times. But yeah, anyway, sorry. Moving on.
Luckily, we also in New Zealand don't have COVID, much like Texas, but in a bit of a different way.
Apparently.
Yeah.
You just actually don't have COVID.
Yeah.
Not just in denial that it's, in the backyard.
Slam Man, thank you so much. 13 months, bro. Appreciate it. It's very nice of you. Yeah, and obviously we're very aware of most of Australia's struggle at the moment too. So, yeah, it's made it hard. I think part of the reason, or maybe most of the reason that we started doing the live streams, as many of you know, was so that once a week, hopefully we could be some light entertainment / respite from from a COVID world, with a little bit of Laser Force theme content without the Laser Force. We it's basically like you get all like the end of the members night when you hang out outside for another hour without having actually played. So Disco Stew, 13 months also.
Oh hey, I know that guy.
Looks like a mountain man.
Oh, he looks glorious with that beard. I saw the photo and was just like, oh yes, please.
You should take some beard notes there, Steve.
This is the best I can do. I haven't shaved my beard for it's gotta be since like the start of the year, maybe. This is about all I can muster. It's brutal. Let's hope COVID finishes so we can get back to worry about climate crisis. Yep. But
Yes, we also have that. It's like there's like wildfires outside my window right now.
For some reason, did my hair seems, I saw hair and immediately started reading your comment there, Shawnee.
Of course.
I brush it every week. I'm not wearing a hat, because I couldn't possibly, after getting my hair looking
deprive us.
Yeah, look at it. This is so
Deprive
glorious.
us of your hair, you asshole.
That is the hair of our Lord and Savior.
Can't grow a beard. Can certainly grow some hair. But
So jealous.
Dude, don't be. It is receding. The hairline's moving backwards. So I'm gonna rock.
Imagine
this
if your
look as long as
beard
I
hair
can.
was like that silky and smooth, and you just had like more luscious locks coming off the chin.
Also, like I sometimes wake up in the morning and my hair has like tangled in with my beard, and so I have to like pull the knots out. It's fucking awful. At points it like strangles me in my sleep, or like I'll go to like get up out of bed and like pull back because I'm caught under my fucking elbow. First world problems, 100%.
And sort of, I feel like the unhoused have similar problems. Just Steve happens to live in a house.
That's right. But yeah, so we'll talk. We'll get into fake nets soon. How much of the Aussie titles did you guys get to peep?
So because
Good
of
chunk
the
of the
time
Space Marines.
Yeah, because of the time difference for me, I didn't get to see any of it. It just didn't work out for actually having to go to sleep to be able to, go to work the next day. Or in a couple of my cases last week, I had some very late soccer games, so it just didn't happen.
Right.
Which sucks because it would have been kind of cool to, be in chat and, kind of see how things were where I'm running. But, real life, unfortunately, sometimes says get fucked.
It has a habit of doing that.
It does.
But I did see you in there a little bit, DK, with during the Space Marines, and
Yes.
truly
Us both telling the ammo they need to get lives.
Yeah, oh, dude.
Get lives, ammo.
So we had a conversation before we went live today, as we often do, and yeah, that was one of the things that we were talking about. And I just wanted to put out there, we obviously at our community we play a different brand of Space Marines, and it is a bit of a trip seeing some of the differences between the two. Like some of them, obviously, probably the main difference is the style of phaser holding, which is not necessarily wrong. It's just different.
It's their version.
It's their
It's
version.
their version.
But some of the smaller things. So like, I was trying to get a good sense of they had a chase rule, and hashtag Donald Ball, and it was interesting trying to get a good sense of what their chase rule actually was, because a lot of people didn't clearly understand it over there. So I was trying to get people to clarify, and everyone kept clarifying different things, which is not unheard of, because I'm sure that if you did the same thing with our tournament scene, you would get some people who didn't completely understand how the rule works. But that was one thing. Playing with an extra base, that was a trip. Playing with
So they had 3 gettable targets instead of 2.
Yeah.
See that
Not that we haven't had tournaments like that in the past.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just we haven't for a while. But I mean, back in Sacramento, way back in the day when we first started playing, we actually played Space 5 with 4 gettable targets.
Holy
a
shit.
commander,
Home of the 20-second nuke.
yeah, a commander could get a nuke just on bases super early, and yeah,
The heavy, the ammo in trouble.
Yeah, we had an entire league strategy around that one season.
Yep. I remember being the victim of it a few times. But yeah, so we decided at some point not to, maybe having a free nuke off bases wasn't the best idea. So we went down to 3, and then when we came back, it was in 2009, 2010, it's like, no, it ended up let's just do 2.
2 just kind of became the consensus among the preponderance of fields that we've played in. It's just like, yeah, 2 seems about right. 2 is enough for half a nuke. It's 1 boost for the medic. It's 1 rapid for the scouts. Like 2 is a good number.
It's good balance.
And also, like, you don't have to. It helps eliminate some of the field variation as well. Like, every site is basically going, or pretty much every site is going to have at least 2 gettable targets.
Yeah.
And if you make
Yeah,
and if you
agree.
and if you make that the standard, it simplifies things. And as Stallion says in chat, makes the scores across the arenas a little more comparable, which is also super helpful. With that really shitty stats website that we have, lfstats.com.
I love that website. It's so good.
It is so good.
Yeah,
Russ wasn't here to hear me insult it though. So
I
that
bet
joke
he
was wasted.
felt chest pains
We'll tell
randomly
him. We'll tell
wherever he
him.
is. Yeah, somebody clip that. Yeah, so that's a biggie, because if you can run around and you're get that many special points as a commander, coupled with the fact that a lot of the team's ammos were kind of, because of the way that the shots are taken, just only having to display 1 hittable target, that's kind of how that rule reads, right? Being the gun. The ammo is actually an even more effective defensive weapon. So a lot of teams were relying on their ammo to keep the initial attack out of the resupply, and so taking them down with a resupply is like, well, now we're 1 gun short. But yeah, it was I'd say frustrating frustrating to watch that from the prism of seeing how how obviously we play, watching how they kind of watching an ammo get down to 1 life is just terrifying. Yeah. Or stay on 10 lives for 7 minutes. Because whilst nobody was breaking in, yeah. Oh.
Just take some lives. You're not doing
Take
anything.
one.
Just take some. That'd be
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Ugh.
But what was kind of awesome was watching the game, breaking the game down. There was somebody who came in and was commentating, and I just watched their team play. I got opportunity to be like, hey, look, so with your ammo's not getting full, and what happens is nobody's getting in at the start, and that's all good. But towards the back half of the game, that your ammo is now scrambling to get lives. It doesn't have to be that way. Front load him at the start and then have him do what he's doing, because it's working. I think this will work better. And so the next time they went out and played, I was like, they fucking listened. The ammo got resupplied right at the start. So that was kind of cool. It was cool to see. Unfortunately,
It's always nice when you tell people to do something and they actually do it.
suggest people do something.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, Force Field is still kind of the main game they're playing there. They're just kind of breaking into Space Marines 5. So I would be really curious to see if they did end up sending a team to another Intersite comp, whether that's in Auckland or someplace else. Fingers crossed for borders opening when it's safe, hopefully soon, and stuff like that. To see if that might alter the way that they play. Obviously, it would take some adjusting, getting used to the shielding rule and stuff like that. But if that would just kind of change their overall meta and how they think about the game.
Yeah, I'm hopeful that we do get our team when we eventually do get to host here. We get a team from WA, and that might be
cool.
A mixture of some players from a bunch of different sites out that way, because there's a few of them. I know that there are. You'll play for anyone. I'll play for WA.
Baden's a slut for tag.
Yeah, he's just putting it out there for anyone. Why don't you rebuild a Wellington team? Just putting it out there.
I like it.
Yeah,
I like it. I'm down.
Yeah, fucking revamp that shit.
All those guys out of retirement.
Oh, that's a good call, because he's banned.
Yeah, him being banned does make that a little more difficult.
They won't recognize you, bro. You lost weight. They won't know who you are.
That's such a great answer. If you're ever looking for a valid reason, boom, there it is. But yeah, I know that there are people that are talking about heading out that way for Aussie titles, assuming that we host next year, and assuming that the Aussie titles happens again next year, which it should do. I think Marcus from Germany and Beans were both keen to head out that way. I don't know if anyone else was, but
I'd be super down if I had the time and money.
Yeah.
I'd definitely go.
So for me, it's a toss-up of because we're probably going to have have Nats, and then Aussie titles will be the following week, which kind of cuts down on doing anything within New Zealand after the tournament, which I know some people are keen on. So it'll just depend.
Let's have to do it before the tournament instead.
I mean, maybe.
Well, let's not count our chickens. We'll figure it out when we actually have some solid scheduling for these events.
That's right. I missed the finals day because I think I was streaming. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed watching the play, and it was really good to chat with everyone in chat. It was really cool, and thank you for everyone who followed the resupply. I was sitting here being like, hey, look, obviously shill, we do a podcast all about Space Marines, and I was sitting in the lounge, and all of a sudden the stream lights start going off in the next room, and I'm like, ooh, somebody followed, that's cool. So it happened a few times. It was really cool. But yeah, I appreciate it. You missed it all? Excellent. That's probably gonna happen. If you aren't aware of what the fuck we're talking about, there is, don't forget the watch party on Discord. Getting there. if you aren't aware of who we're talking about, I think it's Laser Force Tournaments AU. I think is
Yep,
their
it is.
yeah.
That sounds right.
Hang on,
Is
let's
it
see if this
tournaments
right.
or tournament? That's what I'm double checking.
We should double check that.
It is tournaments, plural.
Tournaments.
Laser
plural.
Force Tournaments AU.
Laser Force Tournaments AU. Let's see if this works.
Here, I'm just gonna
Boom.
pop
There
it
we
up. Okay. Hey,
Fancy.
you beat me to it, Nightbot.
Fancy.
Damn it, Nightbot.
Yeah, check and follow. They probably won't be streaming again for another year, but it's worth putting in the back pocket just in case they end up doing something. It was worth a watch. Once you get past the gun popping out, which as our Force community player, always just initially just it sends terrible shivers.
Cringy.
Yeah, just
Cringy.
ugh. Yeah, it's like hearing people chew with their mouth open. It's the same kind of feeling. Yeah. Speaking of which, I have a bag of Pop Rocks here that are like calling to me that I really want to eat. They got given to me by an All Black yesterday.
Made 2010 fun. Maybe for you, you tall piece of shit. You can fire over those walls.
Yeah. I was too busy hallucinating to care about Laser Force. Cheers. Anyway, we enjoyed it. Aussie titles, you were badass. Keep doing you. We'll see you next year. Which All Black? Richie Moonga. It was awesome. I'll put photos in the Discord. Right. Let's move on to the other event that happened. We were going to lean very heavily on DK for his accounts or recount of the week, but about 2 weeks ago was the start of the Fake Nats 2021. Which very unfireable DK, and I bold and underline fireball DK attended.
What? I don't know what you're referencing.
Because you can't fucking remember, you asshole.
I have seen
Oh, I can.
your butt more times this last week than I think I ever have in my life.
Hotel room, so that's really saying something.
Exactly right. I've shared a bed with this man, and I haven't seen your butt as in depth and as much as I have all of this week.
But it's property of Laser Force now.
So Heath and I can attest that the carpets do not match the drapes.
I mean, be a little concerned if they did.
Me too. Poor Autumn. Doesn't she color your hair?
Yeah.
And you can have my case, Steve-O. Jesus Christ, man.
Let's talk about how the week went though. How was it?
It was a really good week. It was definitely needed for me to get away, play some laser tag, and like it's difficult to put into words in some ways how important the week was for me in a lot of ways, because the last couple of times I'd gone and played in St. George, like I didn't play badly, I don't think, but it was like increasingly obvious to me that I don't play on a weekly basis, and there's some things that just aren't part of my usual muscle memory, and was just kind of feeling down on myself about I don't know that I'm ever going to be back at the level that I want to be at for playing, but that week went pretty well. Like I can't say obviously, I was blowing the doors off or anything, but I felt like I was a solid contributor on a team that had success, and I felt like it was a little bit of redemption from the last time that we were in Syracuse, Stan, in 2011, where we kind of blew it on the last day.
I mean,
There
were a lot of mitigating factors in 2011.
There were.
Having said that, we got right.
And there was a bit of an asterisk on it this time too, because we took second in the site-based comp. St. George had a few pretty unlucky breaks on the last day / day and a half, so I think it if you run that tournament many times, probably they're going to take second the majority of the time, and we'd probably take third. But
Fair.
still, it was a really solid competition. I felt like I could really contribute to my team, and that everybody kind of did their part. So that was really nice, and just to be able to play in a high level tournament and to not feel like I was a detriment to the team was really important to me, and something that I still want to maintain going forward. Um, yeah, it's hard. It's hard for me because it's like people won't understand how much that I care about something silly like laser tag, but I care a lot, and it was nice to be on a team where everybody like they really cared. Because I know like
Bro,
Kodama and
we do a
Zev
laser tag
super duper
podcast.
care. I know, I know.
We all care about that much. I mean, you're in this company, you caring this much is not an unusual thing necessarily. So
Yeah,
just throwing that out there as far as this company goes. I know, the wider world kind of goes, you do what for fun? What?
yeah. I will
But
also throw out it was surreal to be on a team that was composed entirely, besides myself, of people who were not born when I started playing laser tag. That was a little a little weird.
yeah, congratulations, you're old. Welcome to my
Yeah,
world.
yeah. And it was like weird also because I've somehow never been the oldest person on a team. Like in our 2019 team, I was somehow like the third youngest because we had a bunch of geriatrics on our team.
Well, I mean, you were saved from being the oldest on a team a lot of time because you were constantly playing on teams with me.
Yeah, true.
So that in and of itself always, gave you this buffer where you were never going to be the oldest. Um, so yeah, congratulations. You played on a team now where you were the oldest by like 13 fucking years.
Welcome to the
Haha.
club.
Yeah, yeah, I think it was by about 13 years.
Oh, Starkiller, what's up?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll put like kind of the rest of my annotations. I try to do some notes about the good, the bad, and the ugly, like I kind of do with most of the tournaments. Which most of the stuff is good. There really wasn't a lot that was bad. So that's, I guess, a kind of good note to start on. Is that it really was, I think, a great week overall, and something that was super needed for a lot of people to get back into the swing of playing some competitive tag. I know we had a little bit of a chat before the show, just about sometimes people's interactions online are not necessarily what we would like, and I think some people um, forget like how to act a little bit online and say some things that maybe they wouldn't say in person. But I would say like in person, the toxicity was like super duper low after people had been away for so long. Like, in spite of all the shit that's happened in the last 2 years, like people were able to just kind of come back together, realize that a lot of stupid shit that happens on the internet isn't real life, and that we were there to play tag and just have a good time. Um, so not that we didn't have tiny little flare ups of drama, but really nothing major. So that was, I mean,
I mean,
first
get
thing you
that.
want at a tournament is just there's not like some kind of a horrifying cloud hanging over the tournament. So no toxicity is good.
That's good.
to be fair, bro, like would it be a laser tag tournament? I'm not just saying force. I'm saying laser tag. Would it be a tag tournament if there wasn't at least some minor forms of drama? I mean, let's call that for what it
Yeah,
is. That's just
yeah, but
anytime.
minor.
Yeah,
If it's
anytime
gameplay,
you
though.
get, yeah, anytime you get that many disparate personalities in one place doing a competitive thing, like that's pretty much a recipe for there's going to be something that happens. Um, but yeah, if it's minor, eh,
But yeah, and that's the nature of competition usually. Like if you're playing high level competitive something, um, there's going to be flare ups because that's just the nature of competition.
The competitive instinct will get away from people sometimes.
Which is fine. It's a good thing. If you step over the line though, um, be a GC and own that shit. Like apologize for it.
Yeah. Let's reel it back a little bit.
Yeah. Okay, and I can talk on behalf of myself. I hate to speak for other people, but like I've had moments where I flare up and get real mad at tournaments.
You?
Really?
Yeah,
You,
yeah.
Steve?
I'm normally a pillar of calm.
No.
Yeah. But
This is a shocking revelation to me, Steve-O.
here comes the cheers.
Yep.
Apologize. Just apologize afterwards for being a dick. And usually it's okay. Usually. Unless you, like, stabbed someone or, broke someone's furniture. Unless you're in the Olympics, in which case you apparently sleep with your competition.
I mean,
Everybody sleeps with everybody at the Olympics. It's just what you do. You got a bunch of super fit people on the same place. Think they're not going to all fuck each other?
Yeah.
there's a reason why they have like 100,000 plus condoms given away in the Olympic Village like every time the Olympics happen. Like it's just a thing.
Yeah.
To say
just a
COVID
thing.
ain't the only thing that's contagious around there.
Exactly.
But yes. Yeah. That's my hot take.
The hottest of takes, bro.
Hottest take.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So other stuff, a big plus I think was the overall level of competition. So I won't say it was the best Laser Force ever played because let's be honest, after like a year away for a lot of people, a good chunk of us a little bit out of practice. A lot of us have say put on our COVID-19, so to speak. So especially like watching some of the replays and seeing the speed at which a lot of people were moving through the maze, barring a couple of incidents that we captured on camera. Like, yeah, people, there was not like quite as much urgency as like I kind of imagine there is in my mind in the middle of the game, just like, yeah, we're just going full speed, flying through that maze, making sure that we're getting tags as quickly as possible. And I'm just looking at the cameras and people are just kind of like walking, catching their breath and stuff like that, which is totally fine. It's just funny the experience of being in the game and feeling like it's super intense versus seeing it on the screen and people are moving maybe a couple steps slower than they appear to be when you're actually in the field.
Not quite lackadaisical, but definitely not with the level of intensity that you imagine is happening in that moment.
I like
right,
to
and there are plenty of
deliberate.
Yeah,
that's how I describe.
And there are plenty of
myself.
times where you have to be deliberate and you have to kind of like move slowly and kind of tentatively through parts of the maze. So some of it is context. So maybe it wasn't the highest level Space Marines that was ever played, but I feel like the level of competition was good and it was relatively competitive between the various teams. Obviously, Syracuse A mostly smashed everybody. It's their home site. They had really good players. That's what's expected. But there really wasn't. It wasn't like a constant beatdown every single game. Like teams could still play in the field with them for a good chunk of time, and there weren't like any just trash teams that got dumpstered throughout the entire tournament. Like I know if you look at the seedings, obviously Detroit and Syracuse B were at the bottom, but they still I think gave a fairly good account of themselves. Detroit, I think their biggest problem is that they were like one player away really, and that was partly because Disco Stew had a bad back through the week. But if say they had like Scythe or Micro or Jerbear to go along with Wolfman on the front line, then I think they're probably in the mix with the other teams, Loveland, California, St. George, that are in there. Because Wolfman did some work at Commander during the week, but it's like there kind of wasn't that second top tier offensive player to sort of push them over the top. And when they did have somebody else who was sort of a good player, like, I mean, Terrell's a good player, Peanut was a good player, but a lot of times they needed the other person to be on the back line, kind of holding things down and defending, so they just didn't really have the offensive sync to get going. So they had some unlucky breaks. And Syracuse B, I would say the only thing they really needed was just more experience to kind of level the playing field. They had somebody who was brand new, who I think had played maybe 10 games of Space Marines before the tournament. So I think they still gave a pretty good account of themselves, all things considered. And once they kind of switched to their better lineup of having Zerg and Jerome run 3 hits, they were tough. Like they almost gave us a run in the first game of finals. They put some real panic in us because they kicked us kind of from one end of the field to the other. They just didn't quite have the follow up. But Fenrir, who was their newest player, and then Axeman, who's I think relatively new, or just he doesn't play quite as much. There was
Doesn't play
noticeable
quite as
improvement.
much.
Yeah, there was noticeable improvement through the week for those players.
That's
So
really good.
on the whole, I think Syracuse B gave a good account of themselves. It wasn't like there was a team that just got like beat on constantly, which is always unfortunate. I feel like at a tournament because I feel like it can be discouraging to people where you just lose every single game and it's not even close. Even the games that Detroit and Syracuse B lost, they were still competitive.
Having been on a team that got 0-pointed at a tournament, yeah, I can confirm is fucking terrible. It is quite possibly like the most 2005 in Brisbane when that happened to me, quite possibly the most demoralizing tournament I have ever played in, because like,
Yeah, it sucks.
great, zero points for a week's worth of games. Are you fucking kidding me?
I think
I say
2003. I think we were 0-pointed. Possibly 2000. No, 2003. Yeah. Yeah, bro. It's fucking awful because you go from thinking, oh, I think I could play this game pretty well, and obviously in a lot of cases it's not your fault or not just your fault. Yeah, but yeah, it sucks being the worst one there.
it sucks being the sacrificial lambs is basically what it gets down to.
Or
It sucks being the team that everybody is looking forward to playing because like that's where we're gonna get some points. We're gonna make up some points and some differential and some time all in this match right here.
What's worse is like being the team that everyone else competes to eliminate the quickest. That one really fucking sucks.
Yeah.
Getting eliminated in like sub 8, sub 7 minutes is awful. Fucking awful. Kudos DK, your ass was number 1, bro.
Hey, just facts.
Yeah. Just read what he said. The whole team just get beats off a week. It takes its toll. Exactly right. Hashtag
I mean,
Olympic
he's not wrong.
Village.
Hashtag chafing.
That's what Deep Heat's for.
No. No, that's completely wrong.
That's
nobody take that advice.
That's crazy that that Fenrir 10 games. To play like 10 games and then they're like, "Oh, hey, how would you like to play, pretty much the best that the US has to offer in terms of laser tag?" Almost.
Yeah. So he gave a good account of himself, I think. And yeah, overall, the level of competition was really good. And like Loveland again came in 4th, so they were in the bottom half of the field. But I feel like I say this too much already, but Loveland is really good. They're much better than their numbers would indicate. Their team was really solid. It was just a pretty tough tournament at the top end of the scale, but Luke played amazing the whole week. Josiah was really good. Obviously, those being their 2 best players, but other people like Simply Okay, aka Mimosaurus, John Calkins, played really well. Just they were a solid team and they were really tough. And they also kind of almost gave us a run when it came to finals, so it was good to play against them.
Just to quickly answer your question, Shawnee, I don't think that there's any, if many, WA people watching today, but a larger portion of the US scene are watching. I think, I don't know.
Well, and Hoodie makes the comment that Victoria's in lockdown, so all the Victoria players that would not sometimes aren't normally here because they're elsewhere are like, well, we got nothing else to do. We're gonna watch our favorite clowns on the internet talk about lasers.
Yeah, and Discos do raise a good point. Yeah, Phantom and Brahmatized. So yeah, when like Vanessa and Brahmatized would be on the hunt together as scouts, they were so annoying to deal with because in a lot of cases they would just split directions, but they would both kind of come from one side of the field. But you'd constantly have to watch 2 areas, and just if you had the 2 of them and then you had Luke try to break in as commander. It was like a nightmare sometimes because they were just everywhere. It was crazy.
Lucy said the worst one is when someone from the other team comes to you and says, "Hey, you can't stop playing because then we'll be the worst team then." That's brutal.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's an oof.
60% of Australia is on lockdown. It's great for our show numbers. Thanks.
Brahmi might have been most
That's
improved
accurate.
on the week. I would say either Brahmi or Axeman. I would say both of them were like improved pretty significantly throughout the week. Were both really solid. I actually meant to like talk to Axeman the last day and just say, hey, like I was really impressed from how you did on day one versus the end of the week. Yeah, Brahmatize was really good. Definitely a solid contributor. Struggled a little bit on the practice day, I think, but yeah, was definitely a a very important scout for them in round play, and then was fortunate enough that I got to be on my team in random draw and continue to do work as a scout. So I was happy to see that.
Well, and it's always kind of interesting at any type of tournament, like just how much, um, you know, how much people can slash will improve in a tournament week. Um, when you go from, you know, in really in a lot of cases in the U.S., most cases in the U.S., like people aren't getting to play every week necessarily. People aren't getting that regular game time to sharpen up, and then you get
Unless you're
kind
St.
of
George.
unless you're St. George and grr, but then you get dropped into this pressure cooker basically where you have to perform and if you don't perform and improve, you know, you're gonna have a bad time. Um, it's it is always just kind of gratifying is not quite the right word, but it's the word I'm going with. Um, it's just kind of fantastic, like watching somebody who was struggling at the beginning of the week, just raise their game by the end of the week. So they go from being essentially a free reset at the start of the week to,
They weren't
oh
a free
no,
reset, but
but
yeah.
you get where I'm going though. You got somebody who was, trash tier ish at the start of the week, and they figure it out as it goes, and then by in the end they've solidly raised their game. Like that's awesome. That's a fantastic thing to see, and that is one of the kind of one of the best slash nicest things that comes out of these type of events is getting to see that type of exponential growth out of certain players. So
Because then that
yeah.
like translates to the growth of the scene, not only at their home site but also the tournament scene. They go home, they usually play better than they were prior to going to the tournament. Um,
Almost certainly.
yeah, and then that makes them really excited about playing the game, you know, going forward. So they're less likely to drop out or drop out
Hmm.
later rather than sooner.
Yeah.
um, and hopefully come back and play
Dylan
more
also
tournaments.
improved a lot. Dylan also improved a lot during the week as well. I think he figured something out on like day three about 2 or 3 spots that were really good as a scout, but his scores jumped like 1,000 from like
That's
day
awesome.
one to day three. So that was super, super important for us come finals also because he was super good on some of the covers that we needed. So yeah, just seeing people elevate their games through the week. And I always think that it's especially cool in a tournament and when you get to a final situation, like stuff, it gets a little bit more grindy. It gets like the game slows down a little bit. I've always kind of compared it like in the NBA in the playoffs, you don't see like those huge scores. It's not 125 to 121. You get like the 99 to 97 score. So yeah, people aren't like trying to throw 5 chains. They're not putting up 10K scout scores. It's just a lot of people who are like trying to hone very, very small edges. And that's where I think a lot of the improvement really comes in because it's as much mental as it is anything else of like trying to figure out what your opponent's tendencies are.
You start playing cagier as well
Yeah.
when you get into that sort of situation. So yeah, the mind game slash mental aspect of it starts taking a little more front and center, as opposed to just the I can move around the maze really quickly and shoot things, and that's cool. I mean, you have to do that, but you also have to be aware of the mental aspect of the game at that point.
Especially because in Syracuse, there are a few places where it's a very hard field to have. You can't have total field control, but you can control certain segments of the field. And if you're trying to go in as a lone attacker against a set defense that has like 4 people who are all standing in places where you're going to be in a crossfire, you're going to have a bad time.
Yeah. So Syracuse, I feel like from a defensive standpoint, I feel like Syracuse is one of the most position your defensive positions like need to be crisp, but if they're crisp, like a single or even double attacker shouldn't be that much of an issue, unless you've got somebody who's just a complete game breaker, like doing shit. Like,
yeah,
there's always,
you have to plan your routes very carefully. And in a couple of cases, like for us, we couldn't really break some set defenses unless we sent both 3 hits out. But we did that a lot, so that kind of helped at times.
Sort of.
Yeah. What else?
Other good stuff. There was plenty of practice. I know in some previous tournaments, people said they didn't feel like they got enough reps in the field. We pretty much had all day Sunday. Like, it was sort of set aside for us that we could have every other game with public was there, but there really wasn't any public. So we basically practiced all day. I think I played between Saturday night when I got in, and then by the end of Sunday, I played like 20 games, almost all of which were Space Marines. So there was definitely time to figure some things out. That was good for learning the field, or relearning the field, as it might be in some cases. And there was enough time during the week for social outings. I was happy that, I kind of had the idea for what I wanted the schedule to look like, and B, that we actually followed through on it and still had time for a lunch break and to go out to dinner at the end of each day. So like being able to go out for dinner, like I think it was Wednesday after the comp. That was our latest night, because Wednesday was the only day we kind of went over, but that was
really
almost
did.
That was well, there were some mitigating circumstances there. But yeah, going out to Smoky Bones Barbecue after that was really fun. Going to the casino on Thursday night was a great time. Even though I wasn't as lucky as some people were. I feel like I still kind of came out ahead on the night, though, since I only had to buy 1 drink for myself.
You only had like
that
a
was,
couple, right?
Yeah, like 3 probably. That's all you need, really.
Was that the first? Was that the first night that there were beverages consumed? Like in
on my part, yes.
Okay, because there was a night.
Yeah, that was
where
Thursday night at the casino.
You had messaged our D&D group a couple times, and it got like progressively more Fireball DK. It was so funny to track. It was just like watching the the Christmas, the Festivus episode, and like just like I can like visibly see the dissension. It was so good. Like stuff starts getting like misspelt more and more, and like it's so good. I mean,
yes, the one time autocorrect doesn't do the work for me that I wish that it actually did. Where normally I'm just like, stop it, autocorrect. I don't need you. They kind of do it then. Yeah, Caleb referred to that as just finding Easter eggs the next day in various group chats on Facebook posts and stuff like that. So yeah,
that wasn't the night.
Not wrong.
From under the hockey table, right? That wasn't that. That was the.
No, that was Friday night.
Right.
So that was after the overall comp. Yeah,
we'll get there.
We'll get back. Yeah, we'll get there. Yeah, I think I got a rash from under the air hockey table. That was a little rough.
What kind of rash?
You need to clean the felt, Sanch. You need to clean the felt.
He's like, nobody ever goes under there.
Yeah, this seems like a you problem, not a me problem.
Yeah. From a spectator perspective, one really awesome thing was that, hey Dream Fan, what's going on? From a spectator perspective, a really cool thing was that we got to do a couple of watch parties in the Discord, and it felt
And that's the only thing I'm sorry I missed. Like I want to be in there, but I can't.
Froggy, you got it. I'll try and remember. Please correct me if I don't. Yeah. So being in there, I think Than, you said what, 5 or 7 time zones or something.
There was one point I know where for sure we had 5 different time zones, and then
Wow.
and then another point that I'm pretty sure we had like 6 or 7, and it was and it was just this kind of weird, it's
Jeez.
not weird. It was fun. It was definitely that. Okay, cool. So literally we've got people in these VCs from around around the globe, because Marcus was in there. I know Lucy was in there for a while. I was there. We had and then we had
Smalley was
people,
there.
we had people East Coast, Mountain Time, Pacific. We had a couple, a couple of people from New Zealand and Australia in, and it's like,
Forgot Smalley.
yeah, we did have Smalley, and just having that like full sense of community was it's definitely something that obviously the last 15 months is kind of robbed from us.
Mm.
And as you said earlier in the show, Steve, like, we started doing the live show to try to kind of recover some of that, and having the interlinked communities to be able to, you know, post into the Discord chat going, "Hey, we're gonna be in insert VC here,"
Yeah.
because there were a couple of different ones that got used. Um, we're we're gonna do a thing, cool, and actually having people show up, and actually having people like, you know, be in, and sure, some people were at work, so like, yeah, I just have to mute. I just want to listen. Okay, cool, fine. Um, but having these 5 and 6 and 7 way conversations while watching the streams, with your friends that are you know around the world, that are all have the same level of hype that you do about watching the thing. I mean, it's pretty fucking awesome. So, and and isn't technology wonderful?
So good.
Isn't technology fucking awesome that we can do shit like this?
Mm.
You know, you know, 15 years ago, if you'd said, "Oh, hey, we're gonna do this thing," and get people from around the world watching a stream and being in a voice chat and talking, I've been like, I mean, that sounds cool, but what the fuck? How's that gonna happen?
Yeah.
Um, and now it's just like so easy.
Mm.
Like, I mean, easy in quotes. I mean, there's obviously things that have to happen in order to do the thing. Cool, fine, whatever. But the platforms are there for us to be able to do this. And it
Yeah.
is relatively easy to, get this whole, worldwide community kind of, coming together and like, hey, we're watching some lasers, and it's pretty decent lasers, and we're gonna talk shit about this ammo that keeps dying out before fucking everybody, because what the fuck, man. But yeah,
Oh, glad that wasn't
just
me.
yeah, no, it was not you. It was the same person like 2 or 3 times, and we're like, what the fuck are you doing, bro? Um, but yeah, just that,
In
just
one of those
having
instances, I know what happened.
okay. But yeah, just having that level of interactivity and such, and getting everybody together and being able to do the thing. I mean, I obviously didn't attend. I had thought about attending. It didn't work out for a variety of reasons, between money and headspace and this, that, and the other, whatever. But still having the time off and still being able to watch and still being able to experience it with other people was, it was a lot of fun. Um,
I'm glad you guys were able to do that.
Well, we've said it like prior. Like one of the best things about playing Nats is the social aspect. Like that's one of the reasons why I keep going back to nationals. The main reason why I keep going to international tournaments is the social aspect of hanging out with people. And so to get that, to get a taste of that, as a consolation prize was really nice. That's really awesome. What Lucy just said. Watching fake Nats in the armory in the Czech Republic. That's really cool.
Really feel like I made it this time.
Yeah.
We're international superstars.
That's right. Kind of a big deal.
Within the Laser Force community.
That's right. And even then, that's a push.
That's definitely a push.
Yeah, so the outings were really good. The casino was good fun. For most people, not everybody won money, but some good stories from that night. Zev had given Wolfman like $25 or something like that. I think, or maybe it was $50, just as a thank you for driving and to hold some extra money for him and stuff like that. And was like, hey, if you want to go gamble, use him with that. So Wolfman finds the cheesiest slot machine available. It was called OMG Kittens. It was a kitten-themed slot machine. Sure, incredibly goofy, stuff like that. So he sits down, plunks in the $50, he's playing for a little bit. You know, it's one of those penny slots. He's betting like $1.20 a spin or something like that. And it's kind of going up and down. He gets down to like $38, and then it comes back to 43, and then it's down to 35. So it's just kind of chipping away. But then he hits this like combo that gives him a whole bunch of free spins, and then the kittens just start popping up everywhere. And all of a sudden, there's just like lights that are going off, and I saw him. He was going crazy. That was the video that I took on Facebook of Wolfman, just like freaking out while the stuff's cycling up. So Wolfman won like $300 off of that ridiculous slot machine.
That's awesome.
So pretty good night for him. But then he was trying to share his wisdom of how to play the slots correctly with some of the other players.
Oh no!
And it actually worked. Not for everybody. Not everybody was blessed by the OMG Kittens. I definitely did not have any luck on the OMG Kittens, but that's okay. I had a good time otherwise. But like he brought, I think, Evil down there, and Evil was down money, and then he managed to get back up as a result of playing OMG Kittens. There was somebody else. I can't remember who else it was. And then Beans sat down and did the same thing, and Beans won like $300 off of the OMG Kittens also. So don't overlook the ridiculous slots, guys. That's the ones that really pay out right there.
Dude, it just like every bit of dopamine in my body is like triggered by poker machines. Even you talking about, and then he got a bunch of free spins. I'm just like, oh yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely a good hit. And then Six Flags on Saturday was a good time too. Nobody in our party had thought to bring sunscreen, unfortunately, so I had to make a little stopover in the gift shop and got a very reasonably priced $18 tube of sunscreen that was about that big. But,
Jesus.
Y'all are
definitely the best $18 that I ever spent, because Beans did not apply sunscreen and it showed.
Did he have like mask tan lines? That'd have been great.
Oh, there was no mask. It was outdoor, bro.
Oh yeah, of course. Did you learn from Cedar Point?
And it's New York. They're not.
Exactly.
Oh, I was fine.
Star Killer, I just 100%.
Yeah, one of the rides for sure, Steve. It was not as good as the DC Supervillains ride at Movie World, but Ride of Steel, pretty solid.
Similar
pretty
kind
solid
of thing?
I would say. Ish. I don't know if it qualified as a hyper coaster, but it was pretty damn fun. Big drop. It was probably like, I don't know, like a 70-meter drop, something like that.
I think we used the footage from that on the
we did
the subscription little gift.
We did.
I think.
Yeah, you couldn't ride it backwards, which would have been real fun. But toward the end of the day, we got to, I think it was Beans and I rode in the front. Is it me and Beans, or was me and somebody? I can't remember who. But riding at the front of that thing was pretty sick. So that was definitely the best coaster that was there. They had some good ones, but not as good as some of the stuff at Movie World. But that was a good time too.
so jealous.
You would have enjoyed it, Steve.
Yeah, 100%.
Unfortunately, travel restrictions are a thing.
This fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
All right.
Other good. We were basically on time through the whole tournament, except after the injury on day 3. But that was the last day of the site-based comp, so I'm like, it's okay if we play a little late that day. It'll be fine. We'll make up the time later.
Well, I think we touched on that last week, but we'll probably end up talking about that again shortly, right?
Which part?
The injury.
The injury.
Yes. Yeah, we'll get to that. Since we're going good, the bad, and the ugly, we'll get to that.
Okay.
Other good stuff. I played decently enough. I was glad I got to bring home one of these.
Ooh, that's nice.
Yeah, I would be sad if I was on a show called The Resupply and I didn't get one of the Resupply trophies, because I would feel like kind of a fraud.
I mean, yes, I would definitely, be mad at you for not holding up, our end of the deal.
Yeah, and it was our whole resupply, by the way. It was me and Applesauce both got resupply trophies. So
Boom.
Really, we're just elevating the whole game.
Nice
over there.
Nice.
The team was great. I really take my hat off to everybody else on my team. Again, I have a lot of props for everybody who played the tournament. I just have the most insight into my team, and seeing that team become what I was hoping that they could be, which is great to see, because Zev just was crushing it at Commander, and I was happy to see that he played at all, because we had real fears after he got injured on practice day that he might not be able to play the tournament at all, and I was feeling super, super bad for him that he came all that way. I was like, oh my God, if I had gone into New York, got injured on the very first practice game and couldn't play, I would be completely gutted. So just to see him playing was great, and to be playing at a high level, even better.
Even better. Yeah.
Yeah, even better.
Sitting out a tournament sucks, just FYI.
Yeah.
It's fucking shit.
So everybody, so I felt like everybody on our team played at a really high level. Aiden played really well throughout the week in a variety of different roles, and managed to take home the charity Masters tournament trophy at the end of day 2. So that was cool to see.
Tiv's event?
Yeah, Tivia's thing.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so Aiden high scored that, brought home the golden Gen 8 phaser, the first ever golden Gen 8 trophy. So I told Autumn that I have to make room for Odin's massive ego in the new condo that they're getting.
Amazing.
Kodama, I think everybody knows, is a good up and coming player in the US. Dill, I mentioned, had a huge leap through the tournament, played really well, especially on the last day when we super needed him. When things got a little bogged down during the week when Zev came back, switching Kodama over to Scout was super good, and I was really happy to see that Kodama, who'd been playing Commander up to that point, didn't think of this as a demotion or something like that. It really wasn't, because it was the team just functions better if we play in these kind of specific roles. We had to try a few different things during the week, because early on it seemed like Applesauce was kind of dying out a little bit too early as medic, so we tried switching me to medic, but then we figured out a few things and flipped it back later in the week. So after some experimentation, some growing pains, we kind of found something that worked in that tournament. And I had a lot of fun playing with Applesauce as a resupply, because she's really good at having a combination of being able to stay hidden, get away, but also know when to pop out and take the shot, because some medics, I think, can be way too tentative and will put all their emphasis on just hiding, rather than, if there's a free shot in the back, you can take it, and she's not scared to take those shots. So that was super helpful, especially because of the way that we played Resup on red side in particular. I know you guys haven't seen the field and stuff like that. People who went to Syracuse,
I've seen the field.
I know you've seen the field, but I mean, I know you weren't there last week, but we were sort of spaced 10 to 12 meters apart, where she was all the way back in Edor, and I set up way across from there, not even at the top of the wine section, but in the they call lawn chair or dime bag.
Okay, yep.
So we just had this really long cross shot between us, and we managed to resupply people who had kind of come to the middle, But basically, whatever direction the attackers came in, like they were gonna have to turn their back to one of us. So when they started like trying to just barrel in and get her, I'd be able to tap them 3 times in the back if it was a 3 hit. Then when they turned around to deal with me, she was really good about being able to pop out and get somebody in the back when they were focusing on me for getting that shot, because you had to turn basically 180 degrees. So that was like
Nice.
super duper fun. I love playing Reset from Dimebag. It was really fun.
That's pretty impressive, and like kind of a cool strategy that if they can't just run in and like get you because you're standing like next to each other.
Next.
Yeah. That was like my whole goal for the tournament was I'm like, I don't want to be directly next to the medic at all times. I always want to have some kind of extra angle. It was way harder on green. The green is just by far the harder side to play in Syracuse. We figured out some things by the end of the week.
I still can't believe that, when we first went there in 2011, Syracuse was all like, "No, man, green's the best side of the arena. This is red's trash." And no, guys, you guys are so fucking wrong in your own
I don't know
nose.
how they didn't know how to use Edor. It was
How do you do
kind of
that?
crazy.
I 100% agree with you, Glader. Kodama is not up and coming. Kodama is here.
Yeah, also true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Tucker.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think. Yeah, but when you said that, I don't think we can classify Kodama as up and coming anymore.
I think
Like,
maybe
up
what
and coming.
Again,
All
all these players weren't even born when I started playing. They're all up and coming in my mind. They're brand new. They're fetuses as far as I'm concerned.
dude's like in his 40s. Oh, that kid's pretty. He's gonna be good one day.
Kid.
Yeah, right on.
Hey, I feel. Wait a minute. I'm in this picture and I don't like it.
I mean, we can get to that later, but I was like, just the amount of good young players, like people under 25, that we have in the scene between Kodama, Applesauce, Soy Boy, Snuffles.
What's that?
I don't remember how old Luke is. I don't remember if Luke's over 25 or not.
He's
But-
mid-20s. He's in that range.
That's still young. But yeah, Luke, Josiah, Caleb, Cody, Jackal, Zerg. There's a lot of really good like under 25 players in the US now. So I feel like
Mischief's only 24.
the scene is still pretty healthy there.
Wow, Mischief's only 24.
24. Okay. Yeah, I was thinking
enough.
he's not that old. So a little
Not
bit older
Cody.
than some of the kids, but there are some really good young players, and it's really good to see because I think it's good for the health of the scene. But also, it's like, yeah, I have to really work hard against some of these players because it's not like I can't get into shape. It's just the recovery time is a little bit longer than it used to be.
Yeah.
Welcome to my world.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
told you it was going to happen at some point, bro, and you didn't believe me. And, well, you know what? Fuck you. Here it is.
It does seem like
Just the trophy thing. Just the trophy.
and our scene can be
I already have multiple of those, bro. It doesn't impress me.
he's using them to like hold up one side of his desk. Yeah, so like our scene is kind of a victim of possibly at times having a bit of an old guard that doesn't really change. So it is nice to have good talented youngsters coming through the ranks. We don't have a lot of like younger than 25s that play in Auckland at the moment.
You should get some. They're really good.
Yeah, well, we've got a couple. Stupid young people. Yuck.
With their functioning joints. Get out of here.
Yeah, what do you mean I can't hear you when you like lean over to pick something up? Yeah. Infusion of Youngblood is 100% needed.
Yes, I agree. They should be my blood bags.
But witness. You need
I want to
somebody.
bathe in it.
you need somebody. What's the term for cougars, but for Laser Force players? I'll think of one. I'll get you back on that one. I'll get you. Yeah, you need people recruiting, and it's hard for like old dudes to hang around. To hang around a laser tag center, being like, "Hey kid, you pretty good. Want to come hang out with me?" Yeah.
Yeah, let's not go there.
Yeah, that's yeah. No, let's just not.
Yeah. Yeah. Anywho,
Other good stuff for the week. Just kind of one other note. Random draw, I think, was a success. I'm not entirely sure it was the best method for selecting even teams, but it was really good to give some people who would probably not usually be captains the chance to be captains and to draft people in there rather than just leaving it up to, four people who are captains all the time anyway. So we had Jackal, Wolfman, Luke, and Kodama were the four captains, and I think each of them had a slightly different criteria for what it was they wanted out of random draw. Jackal, I know, just wanted to play with people who weren't from Syracuse, which is a perfectly legitimate goal for a random draw. Wolfman wanted to play with California people, so he selected basically almost everybody from California who was available anytime they came around. Luke was going full fantasy football and just trying to select the best player possible every single time. And Kodama had a very specific list of people that he wanted to play with. So things got a little bit skewed. Unfortunately, the Wolfman team didn't get any points in random draw. Everybody was saying immediately after the draft that our team was stacked, which, yeah, on paper it kind of was. But to be honest, like, the Jackal's team in particular was only slightly less stacked. Jackal had a really, really good team also. If you just start going up and down that list of players, it's like, oh yeah, these teams are really tough. And especially day one, it wasn't like we just walked over everybody.
That came later.
Yeah, that came later. Day two went a lot better. Yeah, I kept drawing Commander. I didn't even want to play Commander. Stupid dice giving me the
get the fuck out of here.
wrong things.
I didn't want to play Commander.
I did it. Playing Commander is stressful in that field.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Not everyone played that one though, right? So not everyone.
No. So we had exactly 24 people who signed up for random draw. So there was a chunk of Syracuse and Detroit people who didn't play. Snuffles was not able to play because his ankle was messed up from earlier in the week. So that was a little tough. But we also had a couple people who didn't play the main tournament who were able to play a random draw.
That's cool.
Like Noob and Princess in particular were the two. Maybe there was, I can't remember if there was anybody else, but those two names I know off the top of my head were able to play in random draw, even though they didn't play in the main event.
Did they travel down specifically for that, or were they there the whole week?
Well, Abby was there the whole week because she lives there. And she was also super instrumental and super helpful, I will say, in subbing for us on day one and basically teaching us how we were supposed to play Resupply in Syracuse. So, we probably wouldn't have figured out a lot of our Resupply stuff if it wasn't for her help and for Lenny's help. So I'm super grateful to them. Yeah.
But Noob,
so
did Noob come down or come across?
Noob, yeah, I guess he traveled there. He's been talking about he practically considers himself a Syracuse player now. I don't know. Noob's an enigma.
Defecting.
that guy's a mystery. I don't know.
You cool cat.
But he played in random draw and he came to Six Flags with us, so it was a good time.
Rad.
Nice.
Okay, so we'll move on to the bad, and bad is in quotation marks. Yeah, it's relative.
Fair.
So just piggybacking off the random draw stuff, random draw probably could have been more even across the playing field. Like I said, I don't know if it was the best method for determining even strength teams, but that is a whole question over, is that actually your goal for a random draw tournament, or was it to give people a chance to play with people they wanted to play with? If it was to give people a chance to play with people they wanted to play with, then I'd say it was a smashing success. If the goal was to create 4 equal strength teams, we probably could have done better. Better. Which, I mean, worked out great for me. I had a great time during random draw. That was a great team. And specifically, I had really wanted to play with Luke, and I really wanted to play with Tandor because I had not played with them in a tournament, or really played with them much at all up to that point. So I was actually really happy, just aside from the fact that our team was very strong, that I got to play with them in particular because I was interested to see what it would be like to play on a team with them rather than just them constantly coming in and smacking my resupply around.
This is why we play.
It's kind of fun to be on the other side of that too.
This is why we have psycaps, though, right? To avoid that exact thing from happening.
All right.
Yeah.
So changing it up every now and then is good.
Absolutely.
But yeah, trying to put together like what our strongest U.S. teams would be if we were able to like pool resources for an overseas tournament. It would be tough. It would be tough to really determine like who are our best six, and there would probably have to be some talk about, well, who plays better at what position? Are there lineups that are more flexible, and do we need people in specific lineups for like specific roles and things like that? It would be really hard because there are just a lot of really strong players now.
Yeah, that's definitely a good problem.
Yeah, I'd say it's a good problem to have, and I think it'll be cool, whenever Auckland happens, assuming we get enough of these people who say that they're interested, who want to go, to actually like try to put together some of those U.S. teams to see what it looks like. Because I think there could be at least 2 really, really strong teams, if not more.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of proved that last Brisbane Nationals, though, right?
I think so.
Yeah. Just need a couple of other key figures to make the trip down next time we host. And there's a bulk of players from the East Coast that I'm talking about.
They don't travel, bro. They don't travel.
Yeah, I want that belt.
Travel OP.
OP, especially at the Mo.
Not wrong.
Right.
I kind of already mentioned it, but just definitely a little slower than normal, I think, than we would have had if we'd been training on a week-to-week basis for the tournament. Loveland and St. George were probably in the best like playing shape because they still play on a fairly regular basis, and those were 2 pretty young teams, all things considered. The rest of us were kind of still coming off COVID inactivity, so I think we did well, all things considered, but it was a little bit slower. Something that actually was bad, though, injuries. It sucked having injuries. I brought up what happened with Zev. I was super glad that he managed to recover, because when he went to urgent care, so let me back up to the beginning. He got injured literally the very first game of practice that we had. It just coming around a corner, and his ankle rolled out from under him. He was in horrible pain, had said that he was worried that he actually broke his ankle, that he actually fractured something. So I was kind of freaked out a little bit. Beans took him over to urgent care. X-rays came back negative. They said it was a high ankle sprain. They told him to stay off it for a week. Well, yeah, obviously a lace tag player is not going to listen to that. He's not going to listen to that. It's like, well, I'm definitely not going to, it's like, I'm definitely not going to play today, the practice day. And, we should hold me out for at least probably a good chunk of tomorrow. Maybe we'll see how I feel on Tuesday. But he was willing to test the waters by the end of Monday, and it seemed like okay. And then basically he was doing pretty well by Tuesday and Wednesday. I'd say he had close to full mobility back.
That's good.
I would say he probably still only, even on day 3, was probably only like maybe 85 or 90%, which is kind of scary because he still played super, super well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Watching the games where you guys were playing, like, it just seemed like he was just like, oh, hi, I'm a smack shit. Hi.
Yeah, he just scores points like at will in a way that I don't fully understand, and it's kind of scary. He plays Commander very differently from how I do, but I can't say that it doesn't work because he rolls through shit, and it's kind of crazy. So Zev was a good story. He managed to recover from injury pretty well. Snuffles, unfortunately, rolled his ankle during the week and did not recover as well. Ended up having to sit out a good chunk of day 2 and then 3, and was not anywhere near 100%.
Yeah.
For finals. And that really hurt them because Snuffles was absolutely key to their offense earlier in the week. He still won Meta Killer, even with having to sit out games. Wow. I think he was just so far ahead at that point. But yeah, Snuffles was a monster at Commander, and him going out the way he did really, really hurt St. George. And then the whole Thunder situation, where Thunder got run over by a freight train in the very first game against Syracuse in the semifinal that they played against them. And
#Thunderstruck.
I don't know that he had a concussion, but he definitely was disoriented. after that and did not play the rest of finals. So even though they got Lenny to sub for them as ammo, and that is about as good a replacement resupply as you could ask for in that field, it was still a matter of there were chemistry issues and they didn't have Eves as that kind of like calming presence that they needed overall for that team. So that just hurt them tremendously in the
He's basically
finals.
the captain for that team, right? Like him and Tandor, like I guess side by side, but I'd probably put
Mostly
Thunder.
Eves.
Yeah, I'd put Eves as like the leader of that
They
team.
bring different things to the table. Like Eves is definitely like the supportive, build everybody up, tell you what to do. Tandor's the guy who will light a fire under your ass until you need to do your job. Which I've mentioned this before. I think you kind of need both of those personalities
Absolutely
on your team. You can't be too laid back, but you also can't just be like constantly picking at people either. That was really hard. So the fact that they didn't have Snuffles at 100%, like he was maybe like 60%, maybe 70% of himself going into finals. So we certainly were very happy to beat them in the semifinals to be able to play against Syracuse A. But yeah, again, I would definitely say that we're aware that was a very diminished version of St. George that we played, and they played really great in a neutral field. They were the strongest team on paper. Like in a neutral field, I would have taken them over Syracuse A because that's an incredibly talented roster.
Auckland,
Well,
2022.
and you know, watching the video that got posted of the evil Thunder collision, it was like, I mean, you can tell watching it, it's just one of those things. It's not like anybody is deliberately, maliciously trying to endanger anybody. It was just unfortunate timing. That's really all it was.
I have another note on that later, but yeah, that's what it was. It was unfortunate timing.
Just unfortunate. And the problem with that unfortunate timing is it was a bad physics problem for Thunder.
Yeah.
That was a physics problem that Thunder was never going to win.
Now Thunder's not the complete like beanpole rail that he was, say, 10 years ago, but he's still a fairly slender individual.
Yeah.
And
correct.
Evil, a big boy.
He a big boy.
He a big boy.
Yeah.
As a fan of contact sports, okay, and let me preface this by saying that from my understanding, Eves is okay, and is, I would imagine, okay with the footage being out there of the hit. Well, like I said it in chat, I think, as somebody who has had some hurtful activity caught on CCTV. I'm so glad that I have the footage now to show people, because
it is hilarious.
Because as a fan of contact sport, what a hit, Evo! Like maybe start like hitting up that Buffalo. Talk to the Buffalo bloody linebacker squad, because he fucking absolutely trucked him.
So I guess I'll just move this up to this point now, since we're already talking about it. I kind of have this like in the ugly section, which was non-attendees not really understanding what happened in that video, and I think specifically we had some non-force players who were just like, "What the fuck is wrong with you guys? Why are you celebrating this?
Yeah, it's not a good thing.
Yeah, why are you making fun of him? Like that was not what happened. No. I do kind of like almost regret that the video got posted at this point, just because without the context, that did look kind of fucked up, the fact that we posted that and we're reacting to it, but you kind of had to be there. And you had to understand the situation that happened. So one was that like people were commenting that the ref just shot him and then didn't do anything, but that's not the case. Like Dr. Feelgood was there perched above, saw the collision, immediately tagged Evil for dangerous play, which, like, fair enough, right? But Beans was around the corner from where it happened, and Beans did immediately get in there.
Yeah.
Evil immediately stopped, knew that he'd heard thunder and like stopped and made sure that he was okay and stuff like that. So play stopped basically immediately, and the situation got dealt with. Dr. Field didn't get down from his perch because he didn't want anybody else to run into him because there was still an active game situation. He was making sure that nobody else like came in from another angle and stepped on anybody or something like that. So it wasn't like people weren't paying attention to what happened with Eves. And it looked a lot worse in the video than it was because you can only see Evil from the back, and it almost looks like he like bodies him, but it's because of how Evil holds his gun like right in front of him. So from behind, it just looks like he's just going along like a linebacker, like you said, and just basically pops him. But it was just a straight up collision. He just has his gun in front of him, so it looks like his elbows are sticking out.
Yeah.
That is, I think, something that people need to be aware of when you're moving through that kind of field, that if you are maybe a larger bodied individual and some of those corners are kind of narrow, that going around with your arms outstretched like that can be a dangerous situation. But that really was just kind of a freak occurrence. It was two people came around the corner at the same time. I still think that a dangerous play penalty was warranted because
if you make collision,
it still wasn't because it still wasn't a safe situation to be in. He came around that too quickly, but there was nothing malicious in it at all. It was absolutely an accidental contact type thing. And this was a point that I'd made to people earlier in the week, actually, because we had this discussion about what counted as dangerous play, and some people thinking that the rule was essentially too vague. And I said, well, it has to be vague on purpose, because you can't say no running because people are going to run.
Yeah.
You can't say you can't make any contact with the walls because sometimes that's going to happen. Like, the key point is, does it unreasonably endanger another player? There are all kinds of things that happen in a game that reasonably endanger people. It's you're running around in the dark. Some things are going to be dangerous.
Yeah, 100%.
But they don't need to be unreasonably dangerous.
I think, like, for anyone from an outside perspective as well, seeing that hit as an isolated thing without knowing, kind of the people involved, they're looking at the video at face value. Like me, I think if you're going to like make contact with somebody, your first instinct is to protect yourself, right? And so, that's kind of what it looked like on the video. Was Evo already here, moved to like protect his face, and because Thunder did the same thing. You see him like, reel back immediately to kind of like, again, as his head took some collision, but like, moved it as far away as he could, to try not to, lose teeth.
And fortunately, it was turf and not just hard concrete. Because Brandon's head definitely did bounce off of the turf when he hit, and if that had just been just a hard floor, like, then he definitely would have had a concussion. Probably would have been knocked out.
Yeah.
Was, he probably did have a low-grade concussion.
I mean, he still dropped 13K on people the next day, so I think everything was okay. But it is Eves we're talking about.
Concuss this, motherfuckers. We're glad that you're alright, though, Thunder, friend of the show. We're glad that you're okay, my dude.
Well, and like as he was recovering there at the end of day 3, we're just like, "Are you doing okay, Eves? What would make you feel better?" And he's like, "Go to Smoky Bones," and we're like, "Yeah, let's do that." So we went and had barbecue. So Concussed Thunder had some good ideas.
And also, I mean, we're glad that Thunder's okay. We're also glad that Evil's okay off of that collision too, because just because the physics problem doesn't work in Thunder's favor doesn't mean that Evil couldn't have been hurt also. Like,
that's basically the same situation where like that's how I knocked out my teeth back in 2009. 9? Yeah, 9.
Do you have falsies?
And that's why I hold my gun here now and not here.
Do you have falsies?
Funny that. I've got a fake front tooth for that reason.
Can you take it out?
Great. I cannot. No, okay. It's a fully root canal posted titanium thing that is fully screwed into my jawbone. It's it ain't going nowhere.
So that was one thing I was going to ask you, Evo, was because I've had a collision like that when Odin was out here, and it felt like I smashed my kneecap against him. Was that kind of what happened to you? Did your knees knock, and like, yeah, how are they feeling now?
Loosen.
But Nemo.
I mean, not entirely wrong.
Hashtag shout out Chomper.
Yeah.
Also, shout out to the quality of Gen 8 surviving that collision as well. Yeah. Yes.
True.
Love me some Gen 8 suits, man. Oh
Some
my
quality
goodness.
Gen 8 suits right there.
Yours is black and blue. Oh, bro, that sucks. We're glad you're okay though. Hopefully, that didn't cause any structural damage. It was it's a terrible moment, but also a nice moment you get to share with Thunder forever. Caught on video. That sucks.
Exactly.
Sucks. All right.
Exactly.
What else? What else you got for us, bro?
Got any more bad, or are we moving on to ugly?
So I mean, yeah, just brief other bad stuff. I feel like in general, a lot of people sort of ran out of gas on Thursday and Friday, but I also don't think anybody's that broken up about it because they were just kind of tired from the 3-day comp.
Yeah.
But I feel like we got enough practice and enough socials that I am hoping that everybody felt like they got their money's worth out of that, because we only ended up playing 2 rounds for random draw. Initially with 4 teams, was thinking that we might get 3, but I think the feeling at that point was, you know what, let's leave enough time, because we knew we had a contingent of people who wanted to go to the casino Thursday night, so we wanted to finish early enough for that. We knew that they had a party at Fun Warehouse on Friday night. Wanted to make sure we're done for that. It said, let's not overextend the schedule. Let's just play 2 rounds. We'll play a round a day, and people can just do whatever else they want, and we'll play socials if people still want to play more. I think that worked out okay. It was just, yeah, I thought that maybe we would play more, but people were too tired.
Well, and there's and there is also that whole and it's something that you run into when you hit the tail end of any type of tournament week is that game burnout. You know, because as much as, you know, we do all tend to enjoy, you know, the playing and the tournaments and all that good stuff, like there is a certain point during the week where it's just kind of like, okay, I'm laser forced out. I want to go do some other stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's not an uncommon thing. I mean, like literally, I think every tournament that we've done, I think you can definitely point to a specific moment during the week where it's like, ah, yep, that's the point at which everybody just kind of fell off the cliff. And maybe it recovered a little bit for finals, but here's the point where it just like, it dipped.
Kind of done with this now.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's yeah, cool.
Last bad thing, Tully's was not as good as I remember. Like, I felt bad.
Which was?
Tully's, the local
Next
eatery
door?
of theirs.
Oh.
Honestly,
Yeah.
so I've never been impressed with Tully's. Like I have never understood.
I remember thinking it was
Why?
really good in 2011, but yeah, I don't know. It wasn't the same this time.
I don't know why people think it's so fantastic. It's not that good.
Yeah.
I'm a big
sorry,
Tully's.
Syracuse.
I'm a big Tully's guy. Don't you dare talk bad about Tully's, man.
Don't soil the Tullys.
Yeah, don't saw the Tully's. Their chicken fingers, ooh, so damn good. Don't listen to these two.
Sorry, Evil. I didn't say it wasn't good. I just said it wasn't as good as I remembered.
I'm with you, bro. Tully's. Yeah.
Yeah, DK says it's not as good as he remembered, and I'm just like, I don't understand the fascination. Like I've never.
Smoky
understood
Bones
the
was
fascination.
still way good though. Smoky
Yeah.
Bones was good, and the pub where we ate, like the upstairs pub at the casino, was legit. That was good food.
Nice.
Draws after
So there was still definitely good eating to be had.
Perfect.
Okay, the ugly.
Let's have a look at that ugly.
All right. Well, we already went over people misinterpreting the collision video,
gate,
so I don't
yeah.
need to do that.
Collision Gate, we've done that. Next.
I think we need better criteria. Like we might need to specify who actually counts as a rookie when it comes to voting Rookie of the Year, because it seems like we have a dispute almost every tournament about, is this person a rookie? Well, do regional tournaments count? Do they not count? What about random draws? Do they count? Do invitational tournaments count? If it's not site locked, does that make a difference? Just to avoid situations where it's like, oh yeah, was this person really a rookie? Or something like that. I think Jackal ended up winning it, and Jackal definitely was a true rookie, so that was fine. But I feel like we might need as a scene to establish like who actually counts as a rookie and what the criteria are. Is it any tournament? Is it a Nats only? So we'll figure that out.
Like for me, it's a Nats only, because that's the only time that the international scenes usually collide, right? So if you're
Generally.
That's and to me that's easy. If you've played in an international tournament, Nats, you don't qualify for Rookie of the Year. If you haven't, then you do. Boom, solved it. Let's move on. Tully's is the
Steve
best.
solved it. There we go.
Yeah, look at
Let's-
Steve-O solving all the Laser Force problems.
That's right.
Steve solved
Tully's
it.
is great.
Let's go to Tully's.
Does fake Nats count though? That's the only thing that's going to be an interesting discussion, and for all intents and purposes, probably. Now, do climate change?
I feel like fake Nats was essentially an ECT.
Catch the bus.
It just happened to have a larger pool of players, and it happened to occur when Nats usually occurs.
Yeah.
But it was a 3-day tournament rather than a 5. Actually, I would have been fine playing with that same team in a 5-day comp, but I think 2 rounds plus finals was kind of appropriate for the circumstances, and having 3 days with the teams and then having just kind of random draw being its own thing and just sort of a for funsies event went perfectly well. So I was fine with that.
Climate change. Eat less beef. Catch the bus more. Boom. I'm solving all the problems
done.
today. Yeah.
Good on you, Steve.
Yeah. Thank you.
And I also feel like we might need to switch up the criteria for the sportsmanship voting, because I think I mentioned this on a previous podcast that like there's been sort of a concerted effort to campaign for certain players when it comes to that. This year I wasn't totally set on the result, specifically because like everybody had known that Peanut blew up at a ref, and then he got voted for sportsmanship, sort of as a joke, which to me kind of undercuts the point of it. But yeah, and it was fine. It didn't get to be a whole thing. Like Peanut apologized for it. We talked it out and everything, like adults, like you're supposed to.
Nice.
But I'm like, maybe instead of just having it be this free for all, like maybe it should just be something like a certain pool, like each of the captains nominates one person, like who's not on their team for sportsmanship or not, or so you have like some kind of representative group, and you have the field vote on that rather than it being a complete free for all. I don't know. I haven't figured it out, but like I want that award to mean something, and for it to go to somebody who really did kind of embody the values of good competition, and who acted within the spirit of the rules, within like how they treat other players, how they treat refs, and all that kind of stuff. So I won't say I have a perfect solution, but I definitely felt like there were people who did embody that. Like I thought like both Thunder and Jerome was somebody else who was really helpful throughout the week. Jerome was a really, really great stand-up guy. Always had a nice thing to say about people at the end of the game, was always saying, good game. You guys played great. He would say good shot in the middle of a game if you got him in the back. He helped out reffing way more than he needed to. So that to me just went above and beyond. So those are the kinds of things that I look for personally, but I won't say.
I think also so this seems like it seems like this is an award that was given out predominantly at US tournaments, because I don't remember it being a thing in the Australian New Zealand tournament scene. Like,
Well, you guys had best and fairest.
That's true. We did have best and fairest.
Right, so I don't know
point.
exactly what the criteria were for that, but that was also something else where it had to be like
so
a nomination
arbitrary.
by the captains, right?
Yeah, but it was so arbitrary. You were like, who got best and fairest that round? Oh, I don't know. This person got 2 votes and this person got 1 vote for whatever reason. If you have criteria, that's a really good thing. But also, like, if it becomes an award that actually has some respect around it, something that people actually strive to win, then the amount of toxicity in the event reduces as well. Because if people are actively trying to, like, be a GC, like, yeah, you would hope that the flow-on effect from that is the tournament is a more positive place to be, and you know, not as a I'm gonna be a good person so that I get a reward out of it, but mostly like, you know, it's a flow-on.
I mean,
effect,
whatever
right?
gets it done.
Be a jerk after the
If you want to
tournament.
not be an asshole to me in the hopes of a reward, at least you were an asshole to me. It's fine.
I want best and fairest. Fuck you all. I don't know. It's always seemed like a very like arbitrary thing. So maybe some better criteria around it might be also good.
Where's that train of thought going, Steve?
No, it's gone.
It's gone. Choo choo.
Oh,
The train has
yeah,
left the
didn't
station.
Ace won it in Detroit, right?
Yeah,
For busing
Ace was
tables.
For
deserving of
bussing
it, though.
tables.
Yeah.
I mean, if anything, he got paid tips. So no. Yeah, I don't know. Gibbo getting that best and fairest. Right up there, bro, with the participation trophies.
Other stuff. I think overall, the reffing went fine. I think there is still a little bit of adjustment needs to be made for people who aren't competing like in Brisbane League on a weekly basis to sort of switch their mindset over to this more proactive reffing approach with the 0-point penalties. But this is a struggle we talk about every tournament. It's just that it's hard to ref so many games when you've just been playing. You know, you need a little bit of time to rest,
Compress.
to recoup. Yeah, and it's easy to check out as a ref, but I really think if we want to make this as good as we possibly can, that we need to make sure we're putting appropriate effort into reffing, and that people are going to be proactive and looking to prevent rule infractions that are potentially game breaking and things like that. Because I still would have people coming up to me like after game being like, well, I have a post game penalty for this. I'm just like, no, we don't do that anymore. Post game penalties mean nothing now.
Yeah,
If they're not worth any points, it's not worth, like, instead of telling me there's a post game, make a mental note to yourself and correct that in the moment next time you come across that situation, rather than worrying about, oh yeah, you did this or you did that in a game. Like, just stop it from happening.
It has taken some of the dread out of reffing, which is good.
Yeah. Well, and specifically a couple of occasions, like I put down somebody coming into E-Door when they targeted somebody who was not the medic, but I couldn't tell if they were about to turn their gun. So as soon as they tagged the first player they didn't chase, I put them down immediately after that, because I'm like, I don't know if you know that the medic backtracked there or not. And if I wait until after you shoot the medic, then that penalty is going to be 1,000 points, because chasing the medic, we have agreed in the rules outline, like that penalty sticks. That has to be 1,000-point penalty. And I think it was Caleb in particular, like said, oh, I wasn't going to target the medic. And I'm like, okay, but I didn't know that. So as a ref under this proactive system where you're trying to prevent infractions from happening, I'm like trying to as much to protect the medic as I'm also protecting you from yourself from making that kind of mistake and targeting somebody that you didn't actually mean to shoot. Because I have no idea if you knew that person backtracked or not. But that's the entire point of the system.
It's a hard one. It really is a hard one. It's never going to be perfect.
It's not going to be perfect, but I think that is much preferable to the old way of doing things.
Yeah, it's 100%.
Not even close. Yeah, something that I definitely do not miss with the advent of the ref suits is the 15 minutes of game time and then 45 fucking minutes of arguing about the penalties
It's the worst.
after the game.
Yeah.
It's like,
Should never do that.
Fuck.
the worst part of nationals by far for years.
That's complete trash.
Yep.
All right.
Do not
So
miss.
so if we want to keep it, free of that kind of thing of saying that this or that happened, then yeah, just be proactive with the penalties, stop bad things from happening. And it's like, yeah, okay, if you weren't going to chase somebody and you get put down for a chase, oh well. But in that exact situation, it's like, well, I wasn't going to target the medic. Well, then what's the difference between me putting you down and the medic just shooting you? Because then the medic has a free chance to shoot you anyway. So you were going to get put down regardless. It just stops it from being a broken play.
All right. Anything else, bro?
Anyway, that's my thing on that. Let's see. Other stuff. There was some interesting people watching at Six Flags. There was definitely more Confederate flag regalia than I would have expected for for upstate New York.
Yeah, were you in New York?
No,
Yeah.
no. Upstate New York is very red. So that
Okay, I get that it's redneck central, but you still weren't a fucking part of the Confederacy. Like, you were part of the country that fought against the Confederacy. Why do you have Confederate flags and everything? But yeah, so anyway, but yeah, somebody
surprising.
specifically with like Confederate flag swim trunks, I was like, that feels
Oh my god.
that feels kind of extra. But at least to me personally, that's fine. I think that all a Confederate flag is appropriate for is farting into also. So that is a perfectly fine use of it in my opinion.
It's called swamp ass.
Yeah.
I have no.
So,
I have
that
no
was
fix.
interesting.
I have no fix for that problem. Sorry.
And the last bit of ugly. Dunkin' sucks. I don't know why people think that Dunkin' is good, but their coffee is shit. Their donuts are shit. Their breakfast sandwiches are shit. Dunkin' is horrible.
It's like, why
People
are you
need
so
to-
mean
like-
to fish?
Correct. Dunkin' Donuts is fucking atrocious. That we can, even if we can't agree on Tully's DK, we can agree on Dunkin' Donuts being shit. Because I am
Black
right
coffee
there
and French
with you.
crawlers.
Granted, I just got back from Portland where the coffee is much better, but even in a vacuum, like, come on, guys.
Poor fish.
No, Dunkin'. So I remember when my ex-wife and I did our big road trip up to Maine to see my mom back in 2016, and on the drive it's like there was it was like, oh, we need coffee because she loves coffee, and it's like, and there was a Dunkin', and it's like, okay, we're gonna give this fucking place a try. Like we hadn't tried it yet at the time. There weren't any in the DFW area at all, or at least not where we were. And so we're like, cool, we will do the thing. And she got some coffee drink thing. I don't remember which she got. I got myself a chai latte
Coffee drink.
because that's what I get, and I don't care what you make that what you think that makes me. They're fucking delicious. And I got like 2 or 3 sips in, and it was essentially a chai frappuccino with vanilla. I got like 2 or 3 sips in. I'm like,
This isn't
Nope.
coffee. And you were right. That's not a coffee.
well, no, but usually chai lattes in frappuccino form from like Starbucks,
it's still
like,
not a
yes,
coffee.
these
Yeah,
are-
correct.
it's not a coffee, but it's fucking delicious. I got like 3 sips into this. I'm like, okay, I like sugar in my chai lattes to an extent. This is fucking stupid. Like, I could feel like my teeth rotting just with a couple of sips. Like, nope, that's done. And she got like 2 sips into her coffee. Same thing. She's like, the fuck is this? And like, we dumped it out and went and found someplace else. Like, so it was like a $10 or $15 like waste of money because it was just fucking trash.
Your old
Fucking
pal,
trash.
Uncle Steve-O, about to lay some truth bombs. Okay? Here's another problem I'm about to solve. Drink black coffee, kids.
Go, Steve.
Yep, only drink black coffee. You can never go wrong if it's black coffee.
Their black coffee is terrible. Their black coffee is terrible.
Look, there's lesser margin of error if you just drink black coffee.
You would think that. You would think that.
Look, I had black coffee from Dunkin's in Boston, and it was passable. It was passable. If your coffee contains anything that resembles the word chai, throw it in the rubbish immediately. Somebody has duped you.
Bro, chai is fucking delicious, so fuck you.
Incorrect. Thanks for playing though.
You're wrong.
Black coffee and
are
French
so
crullers.
Incredibly wrong.
Black coffee, French crullers. You could have a physique like mine.
We sell it a little bit harder.
Yeah, that's right. If you want to look like Thor from Endgame, here we go. Yeah, large black coffee from Dunkin' in New York, and it came in a popcorn bucket and somehow stayed off for 2 days. America. Right. Was there anything else? Is there anything else you want to touch on?
I just have a couple of shout outs that I wanted to give. Obviously, big thanks to Sanch for giving the green light and hosting us at the Fun Warehouse, letting us have this wonderful tournament. Big thanks to Beans and Fox for the organizing. Like, as much as I was quote unquote the tournament coordinator for this, like, I have to give those two a ton of credit for the work they did. I mean, Fox opened early, did handle all the stuff with the money, had the list of players. Beans handled the stream, the stats upload, ordered the trophies. He called ahead to restaurants people can get in. Like, those two did more work than I did. I basically just put together the schedules and oversaw the draw and stuff like that. So big shout out to Beans and Fox for doing the work that they did and getting the tournament off the ground. Shout out to Wolfman for all the extra driving, because he was nice enough to go out of the way to pick up the California kids every day, since he was driving himself and I had Aiden, so I couldn't get the rest of the California people. That saved them a lot of money on Uber and was really nice of him to do. And he also was nice enough to be the DD on the casino night. I mean, he made out pretty well on the slot machine for it, but still, good on you, Wolfman. Thanks for doing that.
Hell yeah.
Thanks to Russ, as always, for stats, especially because I basically only gave Russ about an hour's notice for random draw that, oh yeah, by the way, we have 4 teams, we're playing 2 rounds, here's what the teams are. And he just got boom, 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 set the website up and was good to go so we could upload stuff.
Legend.
I'll thank Luke in advance for the sick video or sick videos that I'm sure that he's making, because I know he took footage during the week and I can't wait to see what he came up with.
Nice.
I kind of already gave Abby and Lenny a shout out for subbing in our team, but seriously, it was super helpful. I would not have figured out how to resupply from Dimebag if it wasn't for the two of you and your help. I'm also grateful to Lenny. If Lenny, I don't remember if this was Lenny, but I think that it was, for telling us about some of the cubbies near green, and he made this offhand comment of, oh yeah, anybody who hides there is a wiener, and then we just started calling it wiener cubby for the rest of the week, and then we just started shouting wiener in the middle of games, and then other teams started picking up on it. They started shouting wiener in the middle of games. I don't know if other teams even knew what wiener was, but they're just hearing like 8 people just scream wiener in the middle of a game is hilarious. So thank you for making that happen, Lenny, if that was you who told us that.
It's a funny word, so...
And
if it wasn't Lenny, whichever one of you told me that, I owe you one.
I want that to be my new rapper name, Wiener Cubby. It's I'm gonna release an album under that name.
Don't do that.
Yep. And I alluded to it in general, the younger players just really making an impact on the scene. Like people that I named specifically: Caleb, Zev, Kodama, Luke, Josiah, Zurg, and Jackal. I know, like, Cody copped some shit for his whole like 10-10-9 thing on the fantasy rankings, but like he's a good player. Cody's a really good player. I'm curious to see how he would be outside of Syracuse, but he definitely was a solid player throughout the week. So yeah, if you label yourself as a 10-10-9, you're probably gonna cop some shit, but he legit was a good player. So I can't really knock it that much.
He's young,
but yeah, in general, there's a lot of just really good players, and I want to keep up with them, and I want to pretend that I'm still 25 and in peak physical condition, but not.
Look at that.
Oh, buddy.
I know I'm not the best, but I'm always gonna want to be.
That's a good place to be. Striving for greatness. Shoot for the stars, DK. If you miss,
yeah, bro.
Yada yada.
Etc. so forth.
Oh, you land in the All Stars. Boom. Oh.
Boom.
Oh. Nailed that metaphor.
Boom.
kind of an off-topic question, not a player, but DK made note that the place the event was played wasn't all that. What makes a good arena to play in? Do you have a favorite?
Oh, no, I think that there might have been some confusion with that because we also went to the other laser tag arena that was in Syracuse in the mall at the Apex Entertainment Center. That field was definitely, it was too small was the big problem, and there was too much open space. Like it was a tiny box with a huge observation deck at the top. It just, yeah, it wouldn't have worked for SM5. It was just
Wouldn't
too
have worked
small,
for
but it was
anything.
it was gorgeously decorated though. Like I gotta say that was really great.
Classic
Yeah, the
green
Syracuse
covered.
field itself, like the Fun Warehouse, that is a laser tag arena is
Great.
is fantastic. It's like super super top tier. I love that field and I've loved it even more this time around.
They have a floor. On their floor, it's got like a layer of like foam,
Turf.
turf.
So yeah, so when Sanch originally opened, he decided that he wanted to do things a little bit differently than a standard laser tag arena. So instead of just having the concrete floor, which pretty much every other tag arena in the
If
country
it ain't
has.
concrete, it's like a wood mezzanine. But
Yeah.
yeah,
So he basically went with quarter-inch pad over AstroTurf. And yeah, I've got very clear memories of 2011 and like stepping into that arena for the first time and going, "Oh, okay." And then getting done with a week-long tournament and not having my ankles, knees, and hips all going, "Are you fucking kidding me?" Because because you haven't been running and standing on concrete all week. You've been running and standing on essentially, just nice carpeted turf. So yeah, it's definitely it is definitely a thing that in a perfect world, more standalone facilities would do that. It's a very imperfect
Congratulations,
world.
you are banned from San Marcos for bringing up the AstroTurf.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh
we
no.
we did
Again? You mean I'm banned again
we
for a
did
second time?
we did me and Tham were already banned. um, me we did a podcast a little while back about our we've rated I think our top 10 arenas to play in,
It was top
and
5.
top 5. Who what was the winner? It was Brisbane, right?
Yeah. Well,
At least it was for me.
Yeah, I think it was
for
for
me
me
it was
too.
for me it was Brisbane Classic. I don't necessarily like the new Brisbane Maze, but whatever.
Brisbane,
It's neither
like
here nor there.
Brisbane Sands mini golf course.
Yeah.
Just
yeah.
before the
Mini
mini
golf.
golf course got put in, it was pretty damn good. There are a couple of stairs in there which knock it back a couple from being like perfect, but yeah. Prior to mini golf, it'd be interesting to play there
Yeah.
with it in there.
Yeah, I think Syracuse came in at 3 for me on that list, and they would probably move up to 2 after this tournament.
Dredge. I love how you keep calling broadloom loop commercial carpet AstroTurf. You
Right. I mean, it just rolls
rookie.
off the tongue. Why wouldn't we call it broadloom loop commercial carpet?
Damn it! If only we had a carpeting expert here that we could refer back to.
Ooh. Ooh, Tredge says there are plans in place to remove the stairs in Brisbane.
Yeah, my concern is that like
Hopefully they're being replaced with a ramp and not
yeah.
with nothing.
yeah, so that's what I'm concerned about, because you can't really put a ramp where those stairs are. You can in the vortex, but you would struggle to do it off the red ramp. I reckon it's very steep there.
Replace it with a pit.
Put a rope ladder in there instead. That'd be awesome. Yeah, hand cranked elevator. Boom.
Trampoline.
Cargo nets.
Trampoline.
Trampoline.
Yeah. I want to just be able to run up, just jump, and then go directly into red resupply.
Yep, me too. Ball pit. Or trampoline with ball pit, maybe. Fireman's pole. Fireman's pole's a good one. That's not bad. I would like a spiral slide. That's what I would like.
Look, I don't really care. I'm very interested to see like what the actual plan is to get rid of the stairs. All that I'm happy about is that those fucking death stares are going away. Let me see, let me see what the plan is, obviously, before I get too super excited about it. But god damn those fucking death stares. Jesus fucking Christ.
Zero gravity piping system, like the pneumatic piping system they send mail through. Hell yes.
It's like in Futurama. You go through the tube.
Yeah.
That won't end badly.
Yeah.
Ever.
I was gonna say a thing.
Well, you already have it set up where you have the rocket downstairs in Brisbane anyway. You just extend that and turn it into a full tube.
God. Well, you just put it.
And no more hiding behind the rocket.
Put a service elevator in there. So you're like ding, and then you wait and just kind of it is rush hour, but we'll wait for the elevator, and then it gets there and you get in, and maybe you could set up a resupply in there. That'd be a great place for a resup. It won't end badly for local area dentists. 100%.
No, it'll end well for the local area dentists.
That's right.
Increase custom. Everybody else it'll end badly for.
Right. Was there anything else? You've done some thank yous, which is very nice.
That's mostly what I got, and I'm sure that I missed people. It's not intentional. I apologize if I missed people. I mean, thanks to everybody who came out and made it a great week. Like I said, it was definitely needed for me. I think it was good from a mental health perspective, like having a week in Portland, coming home, and then doing a week playing laser tag. That for sure. Oh, I have comments, Stallion. Oh, I have comments on the 2004 sack. There's other story time we could get into, but we don't want to turn this into our longest ever episode, so maybe we can get to that another time.
Yeah, I think we'll save that for next week.
Next week.
Yeah, we were going over a couple of hours now, so we'll look to finish up. But I hope everyone had a great time at Fake Nats. We had a great time watching. It was pretty cool. And
For sure.
If there are future events, I highly recommend people use the general chat in the Discord to have watch parties or to have hangouts or whatever. Because honestly, like it was awesome. It was really, really fun. That's what it's there for. Feel free to use it. Yeah, just anything we can do to keep the community as tight as possible.
Together.
Yeah. Especially at the moment. Did you guys want to say anything else before we go?
Nah, I think we have talked everybody's ear off enough for this week. I do like the idea of additional story time next week for the 2004 sack photos. I think that's a solid idea with that. But yeah, no, I think we're in good shape.
That's a
I
killer.
think people are tired of us.
Killer team shirt there, by the way, DK. I really like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This one was a labor of love. It was a collaboration of the whole team, deciding that the theme was going to be in and out. I came up with the Shots and Lives team name, but Aiden did most of the design on the shirt, and then Autumn finished it up in the shirt shop, since she now manages the screen printing shop.
Can you check it up? Give us a gander. Give us a gander. Shots and Lives. Yeah, there we go. California.
Yeah. Come get your doubles.
Oh, that's
awesome.
That is
That's
fantastic.
so
Yeah, if
good.
people didn't see the back, here I'll show you the back real quick.
Yeah. Give us a twirl. Oh, code names and numbers. Oh wait. Oh, it's a menu.
Oh, that is fantastic.
That's awesome.
Love it.
That's a dollar. That's your membership numbers put as menu item cost. Is that right?
Yep.
Oh,
Yep. So I am very cheap. I am very cheap.
Well, we knew that.
Dude, I'd have me a DK every time. Every single time.
We love that.
All right. Well, look. Thanks everyone for hanging out with us today. We'll be back with a full schedule this week of streams. I'll put a schedule up actually this week for the shows that we're gonna do. I hope everyone has a great weekend. If you can, get out, play some Laser Force. If you can't, just think about it. But for this week, I have been Guy Next Door.
I've been DK, and yes, everybody calls it Cali Russ.
And I've been Than.
Always remember to backtrack, kids. We will see you next week. Peace.
I've been throwing daggers in the night. I've been chasing all the stars, stealing all their lights. The cut so sharp, cut so deep. If they seem to hit their target, it must be what we reap. 'Cause you don't know what I know. You don't feel the way I feel. All these places I wanna go makes me wonder if my looks could kill. I've been throwing daggers in my dreams. If they seem to hit their target, it's harder than it seems. But you don't know what I know. And you don't feel the way I feel. In all these places I wanna go makes me wonder if my looks could kill.